Now let's write a form and add the validations in both Angular and Next.js. Okay. Since I already have a login component here, let's use this login component and write the login form. Okay, in the login, the first thing that I need is, okay, to use the forms in Angular, the first step is in the app module along here, import the forms module and import the reactive forms module. Okay, then only forms works. Once this is done, now we go here and set the form group. This is how we define form in Angular. And along with this, I'll add a constructor, and within the constructor I need a form builder. Okay, along with this, so the form builder that I use to create the form, and let me add ng on init. Within the on init, I'll define this form with empty values. This dot form builder dot a group. Within this, I need to add, I'll add a username and the initial value as empty, and the validators dot required. So this is a required field. Okay, these are dynamic forms in Angular. I'll use a password, empty password. Okay. Along with this, when I submit this form, okay, all I want to is, all I can say, on submit of this form, I can get hold of it using console.log this dot form dot value. It will give a JSON structure of the content. Okay. So let's keep this here, and now let's write the HTML. HTML point of view, again a form, it should be a form group, and the form name is, I'll just name it as a form, and when we submit, it should be ng submit. And I added already the method on submit here. This on submit will be called. Okay, this is how you can create a form, simple form. Let me just add those two input controls. I'll add so right now I'll just leave it like this. I'll add a label for username and a label for password. Along with the label, I'll use input type text, and the form control name, the username, so this form control name should be same as this. Okay, and along with this, I'll just add, don't need this, I think this is it. Let me add the password, the type password, and the field name is password. Now along with this I need a submit button to submit this form. For that I'll just keep this in the, so the button, I'll say submit form, or it is a login form, and for this form, okay, let's see whether it is working. Let me just push this content to center. So okay, so the now content is center aligned, but this is not looking good. I'll just get rid of this iPhone, this stuff from the app component. Let me remove this content. So now let's see whether this form is submitting. I'll say Shiva Kumar. When I log in, see, I'm able to submit the form, password and username. So these are the two values that I submitted. It is looking good. Okay, now let me add the validations. Okay, now we don't have validations. Let me add the validations for this same thing. So to add the validations, all I need to do is, after this, just leave out the alignments for now. This is not a CSS class, so here I'll say username is required. Same thing goes here. Password is required. So I wanted to show this in specific condition. So when I'll get hold of the form dot controls. So all the form parameters will be called as controls of username, this username. Okay. Dot dirty meaning just touched but not entered any content. Okay. Or other one is touched. Okay, if it is touched meaning just clicked that and nothing entered. Okay, and third scenario is and these two are OR condition. Let me just keep it in the OR. And this one is AND condition. Within this, if there are any errors, if so, check whether it is required, throw the error message. Okay, the same goes to password as well. Only difference is password, that's all, and the password is required. Let's see. This is how you should add the validations, but at the same time you should have a required here, validators.required. Okay, now to display this, let's go and check. Now if you see, when I touch it and not entered, it is throwing error message. As soon as I typed it, it is gone. Okay, this is how you can add the validation messages. Also, you can simply set some style to show it in red color. Color maybe red. And we can style it whatever the way we want, but I'm just showing how we write the validations here. Nothing more than that. Okay. Now when I touch, see, now it is throwing validations. Okay, and now the validations are gone. Now it is submitted. Let's get the same form data and display it in the same screen. For that, form.value pipe of JSON. Okay, this is a form. Okay, let's see. See, this is the plain form. Since Angular follows two-way data binding, as soon as you type it, it will automatically bind it to this. Okay, this is a form data. So this is how you can create a form and add the validations in Angular. Okay, now let's go to Next.js and write the same form and the validations in Next.js. Since we already have, so right now let me just get rid of all these things, use effect and all these things for now, since it is done. I'll just remove everything from the home. So let's add login here directly on the main page itself. Okay, let's write the login form in Next.js right now. Okay, so we need a form similar to Angular. Okay, along with this we need onSubmit function. It will, within the onSubmit function, we'll get the event. Within this event, okay, we need one more here. Okay, within this event will prevent the default and run the actual form submit. Okay, for that, let's add onSubmit and we'll pass the form. To get hold of the form, we need a constant saying form and set form. Okay, and use state. Within this use state, since it is we are going to have a username and password, we'll say username empty. So the default values that we are referring here, and the password is empty, and we'll create an interface called form data. Okay, I'll create an interface form data, and I'll add a username of a string password of string. Okay, now I have a form, initial form with these two values. Okay, the empty data. Along with this, I need a form submit function. So I'll have a async function. I'll use on submit. It will get hold of the form which is of form data. Okay, here we can perform the basic maybe console log of the data, of the form data. Or we can one more thing do it like set form, and we can form this data so that we can print this form data on the page. Maybe under here form dot username hyphen form dot password. Okay, now let's write the actual form. So within this form we need two fields, one for input type text. Let me add a placeholder. It is username, and the value would be form dot username, and on change it should be the event that you get, and once you get the event, set it to form. Within this, 3 dots and the form comma event dot target dot value. Okay, here we need to set the property name. Okay, the form closure shouldn't be here. Form closure should be here. Or not. It's closed here. Closed here. On change event set form 3 dots and the form name. Oh, spelling mistake. Okay, so this is how you can. Okay, there is one more thing, we didn't close it. Okay, this is input type password. This is for password. Now let me add a submit button. Login. Okay, let me just push this total content to center. Class name, let me use this one to center align the content. So now we have a form Shiva Kumar. Now you see this is the data coming from the form. Okay, so this is how we can submit the form. When you submit, what I am doing, not only setting it to this, what we will do is we'll also console dot table so that we can see it in the console. Okay, Shiva Kumar, and when I log in, click login, see username and password. This is how you can submit the form in Next.js. So now let's add the validations for the same. Okay, let's add the validations for Next.js form. Okay, when we submit it, instead of directly getting hold of it, let's add the validations here. So I'll create a function called validate form. This function it will be constant validate form. Okay, within this I'll create an error object. It will have both the properties, username empty, password empty. This is the first thing. So the second thing is if form dot username, if it is not there, okay, error dot username equal to username is required. The same goes to password as well. The password is required. Let's validate. Okay, along with this, okay, I need to set these errors. I'll use something called errors set errors, and it can be any object. Okay, set errors. Let's set error. So if there are any errors, we are setting it to set errors. Along with this, let's check whether the form is valid or not. Okay, for that again I need one more use state. I'll say is form valid, set is form valid. By default I'll say it is as false value. Okay, this here object dot keys of errors, if there are any errors and its length equal to 0, then form is valid, otherwise invalid. And within here validate form. Okay, let's validate this and see. Okay, I think to display the message, error messages, we need to add something. Over here, errors dot, okay, it is error dot username, dot username. If error username has it, then I'm setting this. Okay, I think it should work. Let's see the password and the password. Let's validate and check. Error is not defined. Okay. Oh, this is Angular. Okay. Errors. Oh, okay. Errors, 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 errors. Now if you see, I didn't enter anything. Okay. When I click login, it is throwing validation errors. Username is required, password is required. Okay. When I enter and login, it is successfully submitted. Okay. So this is how you can add the validations for form in Next.js.